Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Butch Shorak. Welcome to Market Forecast, brought to you by Options University. It's Monday, September 2nd, 2013. Access to this video is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing contained in this video, website, or promotional material constitutes a promotion, recommendation, solicitation, or offer of any particular investment, security, or transaction. Options University provides educational services that are meant to teach you the risks and rewards of trading stocks and options. We're not a service that tells you what to trade. We're not implying or guaranteeing any profit, and as always, do not trade with money that you cannot afford to lose. And let's take a look at the economic announcements coming up for the current week. Of course, we have a shortened trading week this week as we had that wonderful 3-day Labor Day weekend. And so on Monday, there was no market involved. Looking at Tuesday, we see that we have PMI coming up. We have ISM coming up. So we've got some announcements coming up in the coming week. And we see that we also have construction spending coming up on Tuesday, the very first trading day of the week. All right, looking at Wednesday, we see that we have international trade coming up at 10 o'clock, and then we see that actually that's at 8:30. Looking at Thursday, we see we have ADP, we have jobless claims, which we have every single week. We have ISM non-manufacturing index. These are pretty important processes that are taking place. And of course, on Friday, we have our employment situation for the previous month, which will give us an indication of exactly where we stacked up during that previous month. So not a lot of things coming out in this coming month. The employment certainly is a number that we'll be interested in. Of course, all of this is overshadowed by the potential war that we seem to be stepping up for that take place in Syria. How do wars generally affect the stock market? Well, generally there's a initial pull to the downside, and then if you'll look back at some of the skirmishes that we've had in the past, you'll see that most of the time they lead to a rise in the market. And here we are sitting in this somewhat bullish market, so we'll see exactly where we come up. Looking at the Dow, the Nasdaq, S&P 500, Russell 2000, we see that for the week, looking at all the changes, we see negative numbers up there. Percentage change, we see the Dow down 1.3, Nasdaq on 1.9, S&P down 1.8, and the Russell 2000 down 2.6. All right, have we hit the 200-day moving average? Well, we'll check that out in a minute. Year-to-date, our percentage is still pretty hefty as we see the Dow up 13% in spite of that pullback. Almost 2% down for the Nasdaq for the week, and we still see for the year up 18.9%. S&P up 14.5%, and of course our leader, the Russell 2000, up 19% for the year as we see that we've been in quite a bull market. Looking at the last year's chart, we see that here we certainly looks like we're in an uptrend as we see ourselves heading up, 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 up. Now, if we draw a line that looks something like that, you see that we're approaching somewhere near support. 200-day moving average sitting down here. So the potential is that could we pull back to that 200-day moving average? We could if they decide they want to get the market set up. It's a little early. Usually we see that take place in October, as October through May is the best 6 months of the year in general if we look at past cycles. However, here we are. We're pulling back and we're doing some consolidating. In fact, let's look at a little closer chart here. Looking at the last week, you saw that we had our down move on the Syria move. And then we've kind of consolidated here, and we'll see whether we're going to head up or down, what kind of knee jerk reaction we're going to get if the decision is made to drop some bombs on these chemical targets in Syria. All right, looking at a closer chart of the S&P, we see that as we saw the news come out, boy, we had a big down move in the market as they got that big red candle. Then we consolidated across, trying to build some support consolidation at this level. And what will this week have to hold? Well, it all depends upon the news. So we've got a news-driven market. We certainly are in an uptrend on a longer-term basis, and we're on a sideways trend as far as our intermediate trading range. All right, looking at the Dow, we see that it's followed much the same path. It had its move up and it's shown some weakness in the last month or so. As we see the Dow during the month of August kind of tapering back, still giving us lofty returns for the year, pulling somewhere closer to the 200-day moving average than we'll see that the others do. Here we are, the Nasdaq sitting up there nice and high. So they're actually sitting, there's the 30-day moving average, there's the 50-day moving average, 200-day moving average. The Nasdaq hasn't even gone through the 50-day moving average as it showed that great relative strength, close to 20% for the year. Looking at the Russell 2000, trading below the 50-day moving average, the overall leader for the year as far as the rate of return for the year. And we see the 200-day moving average sitting down here. So didn't pull back as much as the Dow did or as hard as the Dow did earlier in the year, and trying to lay in some kind of trading range here before the next move up. Are we going to see this pull back further? Well, we certainly, again, could receive some kind of reaction to the beginning of bombing. But again, if we look back at some of the other conflicts we've had, we see that these generally, after the initial kickback, tend to cause a little impetus in the upward direction for the indexes. All right, and looking at the VIX, well, the VIX we see that we've got basically up around 17, so we've had some increase in volatility, certainly, as we've had this big international news event beginning to unfold in front of us, and so as we would expect, volatility has increased and we're above that normal 15 level. Are we going to spike up to where we did before with this 22? Don't be surprised to see that. It certainly is a move that we could see out of the VIX. All right, taking a look at some of our other sectors, we see that the bonds have had a little kick up. Notice that we are in a downtrend on the bonds, and we'll see whether we rise above this 50-day moving average. And watch for entry to the downside. Once the news is over, we can expect bonds to continue on the trend until it changes, and so far we're not seeing any big change. Did pop up to the 50-day moving average on Friday and then pulled back to the 30-day where it closed. Looking at gold, our safe haven, some fear in the market, but notice we still aren't at the previous highs. We're getting close to them as we see gold, some flight into gold as is. We see this kind of announcement come forth. Looking at the volume for the week, what kind of volume did we have? Well, there's our spider, and we see that we had the pullback and the consolidation that took place during the week. What kind of volume did we have? A little bit of strength in here as some people chose to get rid of their stocks as we come to these times of uncertainty. As we well know, Wall Street does not like uncertainty, but they do deal with things once they find out exactly what is happening and it takes place. Next, looking at the financials, we'll look at XLF, our ETF for the financials, and it pulled back. It looks very much like the Dow as it pulled back. It's below the 50-day moving average. Looking for a potential cross here, which could show us lower lows. We'll see whether that happens or whether we get past this news event and we just keep returning to that previous high. Looking at oil, wouldn't be a bit surprised to see that spike as we're talking about Syria. We're talking about the area where we've got a lot of oil that comes out of there, and all these countries are kind of grouped together, and so could have an effect on that price, and it shows in the market. No big surprise. With volume, there was certainly a flight to oil as we saw a spike take place with that impending news. And so those of you that are gold members, stick around. We've got our stocks to watch, see how they reacted during this week, what kind of buying opportunities could be developing for us. And for those of you that are not, stick around, and at the end of this video you'll see a URL where you can find other free videos from Options University. So with that fact, this is Butch Shorrock. It's Market Forecast, brought to you by Options University. It's Monday, September 2nd, 2013. Thank you for being here.